Welcome to Industrial Bytes, a collection of bite-sized conversations from the industrial world. Join Industry 4.0 thought leaders at Honeywell as they explore industry IoT connected technology, big data, and more. Listen to them take on topics that are reshaping the way the world works. Now, let's tune in. Today we explore Honeywell Forge for industrials. Let's look at how Honeywell Forge is making it compelling for industrial giants to transform especially those in oil and gas, petrochemical, specialty chemicals, mining, mineral, metals, and related industries. Heavy process industries are sometimes slower to change. Here to tell the story of how, why, when, and how much is General Manager of Honeywell Connected Industrial, Sunil Pandita. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What should we know about you and give us a really good introduction to yourself.
My name is Sunil Pandita. I am one of the members of Honeywell Connected Enterprise community. I lead their Honeywell Connected Industrial space. I am all about technology. I was a geek when I was born. I'm a geek now, and I think that problem is going to continue. I am a lot about making meaningful impact. I love solving big problems. I love creating impact in the communities I live, in communities I work, and in the communities where our products work. And finally, I'm all about having fun. I work hard, I play hard, but then if you're not having a lot of fun, all of this is not worth it.
So tell me real quick, if you were not in the technology software business, what would you be doing?
Oh, that's a great question. I think if I was not in the technology software business and I had my pick of whatever I could be, I would be a professional athlete. And the reason is I find myself just mired into the game, all about the game, and forget everything else in life when I am playing a sport. It challenges me mentally, it challenges me organizationally, especially in team sports, and it's good for health. So the sense of satisfaction I get after playing a team sport tells me that if I ever had to live my life again, I would probably focus on becoming a professional athlete.
Tell me what sport is your favorite that you would like to compete in or that you enjoy competing in currently?
So I played cricket for many years. Actually, I was training to be a professional cricket player, and I was a pitcher. The pitching in cricket is you bounce the ball off the ground, unlike baseball. And so the height of the pitcher becomes important. I was one of the tallest guys till I was like 12. And then that tallest became second tallest all the way till I became the front of the line. And so my coach came to me and said, you got good skills, you got good ball maneuverability, but if you're ever going to play for India, I was in India at that point, you kind of need to be taller. So I gave up that dream. If I had to go back, I would make myself taller and become the professional player that will play for India that I wanted to be.
Tell me from an American standpoint, what sports are you attracted to? What do you find yourself, if you could choose an American sport, what would that be?
Oh, man. If I had to choose the American sport that I would be part of and I had all the liberty of physical gifts, I would choose American football. I love American football. I watch a lot of NCAA football. I also watch a lot of NFL, Go Cowboys. The reason is it's got the right mix of brawn and brains to win that makes the game pretty complicated. It also involves a lot of human elements where you depend on each other. The quarterback can't make a throw if the receiver is not in the right spot. But then for the receiver to be in the right spot, you have a game theory of what moves you will make, where, so that the receiver is at the right spot. Well, even if you planned each and everything works out perfectly, the game is imperfect, which makes it beautiful. And so the person who's carrying the ball or throwing the ball has to make runtime decisions that can really affect the nature of the outcome of the game. And so all of this put together makes, I think, American football one of the best sports in the world.
I love your response because it leads me into our first question. Really, what is Honeywell Forge? It's such an intricate, strategic piece. I would love to hear how you describe it.
I think if we continue with the sports analogy, for the American crowd, Honeywell Forge is the NFL of football. For the cricket crowd, it is the World Cup. For the soccer crowd, it is the World Cup. What do I mean? Honeywell Forge in the areas where we play, which is aerospace, buildings, workers, and industrials, is what we call as enterprise performance management. This is where the bronze and the brains come together. This is where insights from the asset side, insights from the process side, insights from the operations side, and insights from our people come together in a near real-time manner, leveraging the data, leveraging the 120 years of subject matter expertise that we have. Layered on top is the latest technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning. All of this put together in an easy-to-use manner for our clients so they can do 3 simple things. 1, drive better operations. This involves more profitability, this involves lower costs, this involves higher revenue. Second is sustainability. This involves leveraging energy to the best possible manner, becoming carbon neutral, reducing emissions, reducing any safety incidents. And third is becoming autonomous, which is the number of decisions that our customers running a plant or running a mine have to make on a real-time basis is humongous. Honeywell Forge allows us to make those decisions in an optimized manner across the board consistently and across the board perfectly.
When I was driving here today, I followed an autonomous vehicle into the parking garage. It's a pretty good brand, but when we think about, you mentioned autonomous vehicle, it's this package of insights and data and human technology and everything to really drive an individual down the road. And when you say autonomous vehicle, you don't know what it means until you actually see it. So let's take this to Honeywell Forge. You have a background in user experience and UX and all those fun things. What does it look like? When I see it, how do I know it's Honeywell Forge?
I think you asked 2 questions. First is, how does an autonomous vehicle feel like when you are inside? I'll tell you, it feels normal. It feels the same. And that's the same way we want our customers to feel. They want to feel the same or better when they are leveraging Honeywell Forge versus all the disparate systems that we have. Today, our industry is plagued with systems that don't talk to each other, software pieces that don't talk to each other. Also, our industry is plagued with software that is outdated. And to do anything at enterprise scale requires humongous IT projects because our systems are siloed. Honeywell Forge, like the autonomous vehicle, takes all this complexity and frankly masks it. So our customers find it very simple to use, just like all you got to do in an autonomous vehicle is get into the car, tell the car to park itself, and it parks itself. So all the complexity of parallel parking frankly goes away. Similarly, all the complexity of where do I get my data? How do I connect to the device? What drivers are required? Now, what do I do with this data? How does this data connect with some other data? And which data is important? How do I interpret this particular data? What algorithm do I use? What algorithms have others used that have driven value? How do I know that what I'm doing is actually the best possible value? And so how do I benchmark myself? Imagine this kind of, thought process for one device. Then imagine the number of devices we have in our area. Imagine the number of processes and subsystems that we have. It's actually very, very complex problem to solve. But Honeywell Forge and Honeywell Forge for Industrials allows us to mask all this complexity, do the intelligence at the granular level, but then bubble it up for the right persona with the right insight just in time for them to act and create the impact.
What are some of the key industries you're focusing on and why? You mentioned a few in your first response, but I'd love for you to talk about those again and say why.
Honeywell Forge for Industrials is focused on mostly industrial segment. What does that mean? This means oil and gas. This means metals and mining. This means pulp and paper. This means warehousing. This means supply chain. But we're also now going into chemicals, specialty chemicals, and hopefully at some point as our products mature from continuous process technologies to batch technologies to discrete technologies, we will go to discrete technologies like food and beverage. But today we are focused a lot on continuous technologies, process technologies, and batch technologies.
What are 3 pain points that Honeywell Forge truly alleviates?
Honeywell Forge addresses head-on 3 pain points that plague industrial companies. First is siloed systems and operating systems. Many of the problems that we face today have been solved, but they have been solved as point solutions. So we optimize a problem in its small domain, but there is a bigger, better optimum somewhere else. And the ability to bring it together is actually very, very complicated. What Honeywell Forge does is it's basically connected. It takes data and system in a near real time and puts it together, normalizes it, puts additional intelligence on it, leverages the best technology so that you can think end to end. Second big pain point that exists in our industry is technical debt. What was cool 5 years back in technology is archaic today. If you think about our cell phone market, think about the kind of cell phones we had 10 years ago, and think about the kind of cell phones or smartphones that we have today. This is a step function change, right? Take, for example, how you catch a ride. 10 years ago versus today. It is a step function change. What was good piece of code 10 years ago, and in our industries we have code which is written 20 years ago, just needs to be rewritten, refactored, rehosted. So what Honeywell Forge for Industrials does is it allows us to be evergreen so that we are future proof, that you're always connected to something that refreshes you from time to time in such a manner that it is not disruptive, but then you stay current. Finally, Honeywell Forge allows us to look into the future. And let me explain. Let's say today you have a pump. A pump has, let's say, 10 attributes that matter. And you're tracking each of the 10 attributes. We have some very sophisticated digital twin technology. And you can model the ins and outs and you know what's going to happen. Let's say this pump tomorrow gets connected to the internet, which is a very realistic scenario. There is an 11th attribute that doesn't exist. How do you change the entire code base to have that attribute? This is where this concept of extensible comes in, which means instead of hard coding what a pump is, we have models for pumps with ability to expand into attributes that allow us to do sophisticated algorithms of tomorrow versus trying to predict what will come tomorrow. Because the reality is, you and I both know that 5 years from now, we actually don't know what the technology would be. And so future-proofing ourselves against that is critical, because we are building a foundation for decades to come. So we cannot repeat the mistakes of the previous decades. So extensible is a very, very important fundamental building block that alleviates the pain of technical debt and obsolescence in our industry.
Let's talk about the competition and their landscape. What are they up to? What are they doing?
So our competition is very, very smart. Our competition is very, very forward-looking. And our competition is very, very capable. It keeps us on our toes, and it makes sure that we drive the transformation that we are driving at the right pace. But the reality is, they are also thinking about doing this in different manners. And I will talk about different types of competitors that we have. First type of competitors are platform providers. These are competitors that will allow you to connect to different devices, collect the data, put it into an IoT platform, and provide you platform as a service. The distinction, the differentiation Honeywell Forge for Industrials has against these kind of competitors is that we not only provide you what they can, but we also provide you the actual application that runs on this platform that drives real economic value. So that you're not just getting the raw data, you're not just getting the ability to collect all the data together, you're also getting what to do with the data. Second type of competition is a set of people who have specialized products, which we call as best of breed. These companies have solved some very unique set of problems, but they only solve one or two problems. Versus to drive enterprise performance management, you need to solve majority of the problems. Imagine early 2000s, late 90s, when SAP or ERP didn't exist as a category. We had a set of software that did demand planning. We had a set of software that did supply planning. There was a set of software that did supplier planning. There was a set of software that did manufacturing planning. And then there was a set of software that did financial planning. And what ERPs have done is put it all together into one coherent, consolidated system. The differentiation Honeywell Forge for Industrials has against these specialized products is we are not into one single category. We'll go across asset performance management, process performance management, operations performance management, and people management. So overall, we have a holistic set of portfolio, which I think is the best in the industry. Then we have third set of competitors coming in, which we call as the new age technology providers. These are the likes of Amazons and Microsofts of the world. We do believe they have significant technology advantage. We do believe that they're sometimes born in the cloud and have very advanced AI and machine learning capabilities. However, Honeywell Forge for Industrials has the advantage of having domain knowledge. We have 120 years of domain knowledge from our legacy, which has a lot of what we call as first principles equations or thermodynamic equations that many of these new age technology providers don't have. They purely use the database approach. What we have done is partnered with them and sometimes created some of the algorithms of our own, like artificial intelligence and machine learning, to augment some of the use cases that we solved through first principles. For example, many of our industrial clients will know that coking is a big problem for equipment. What we have done is predicted coking using thermodynamic equations. However, now we are using artificial intelligence and machine learning to look at the data so that instead of having an equation, we actually look at the data learns itself and actually predicts better how to do coking. Now, if you had to do this on your own, just by data, you will get a lot of false positives. But the fact that we have a first principles model, which we have tried, tested, implemented so many times, becomes the guiding force, and then artificial intelligence and machine learning can optimize around it. Finally, the fourth type of competitors that we see are consulting and system integrators. Consulting companies are very good at managing executive digital transformation. They can put big programs and do program management and do a lot of change management, which I believe is actually a critical enabler for Honeywell because they do the front end work and we can then partner with them. Similarly, system integrators mostly supply the people, but those people are primarily IT driven and don't have the subject matter expertise that Honeywell's folks have. So I believe that there is a piece in the middle which is perfect for digital transformation to happen in between the strategy and consulting providers up top and the system integrators, downstream from us. So all in all, I feel Honeywell has a significant competitive advantage against some of our competitors who frankly are also our partners.
When you talk about this platform, when you came to Honeywell, what got you excited to come to a place that is working on such an enterprise level platform?
For me personally, one of the big reasons for joining Honeywell and Honeywell Connected Enterprise and going on this transformation journey was the fact that we are interested in solving big problems that create meaningful impact in many of the industries we serve. These are problems that have actually not been solved before. And the jury is out there whether we can solve these or not. So the challenge of never being done before attracted me to Honeywell. Secondly, I saw that Honeywell has the track record that when it puts its mind and technology onto a problem, it can actually crack some of the toughest problem. For example, look at our quantum computer. How many companies in the world have a quantum computer? Whenever Honeywell participates in an industry, it actually participates in the brains. If you look at aerospace, we control avionics. If you look at a building, we control the building management system. If you look at the plant side, we control the DCS and the APC. This is where decisions are made. This is where the brain is. And it's but natural that a company with a legacy like Honeywell, which is mature, which is transformative and focused on the brain, is a natural participant to solve this problem. Finally, Honeywell has a trusted brand, which we take very seriously, and it has a set of install base, which is absolutely the right set of customers that are demanding this kind of digital transformation that Honeywell Forge for Industrials is providing. So when we came out with enterprise performance management, our customers loved it because instead of Honeywell creating this disruption, we created this disruption jointly with our customers. And we knew it would have a high take rate because we had co-created this with our customers. And I look at all these three things, the DNA of Honeywell, the execution of Honeywell, and how we have created this with our customers and we have the access to the customers. I was thrilled to jump in.
Listening to your roadmap, Honeywell Forge, Talk about the product roadmap for Forge and where you see it's going to go.
This is a multi-year journey. Last year, we were focused on connecting the fundamentals and getting the basics right. Now we are moving into an era of autonomous and sustainability. Let me explain each of those terms. The number of decisions a lot of our industrial clients need to make on a real-time basis is just too many for humans to scale. If we did this math, that if you took all the decisions and you put the entire human population on just those decisions, we couldn't take all those decisions. So what's the net of all this? Many of these decisions will have to be done automatically through intelligence, through code, through AI. This is what we call as autonomous systems. So we fundamentally believe in it, so our roadmaps you will see are progressively seeing autonomous in addition to connected. So that's the first big portion of where our roadmap is doing. Second thing is our customers in industrials, whether it's oil and gas, whether it is specialty chemicals, whether it is metals and mining, whether it is pulp and paper, and many other industries that we serve, they are all about environmental and social governance. And they want to be carbon neutral. They want to reduce the amount of energy consumption for a per unit of output. They also want to reduce emissions. They want more and more recycling. So where we are going is Honeywell Forge for Industrials has a sustainability theme included. So while, multi-cloud comes out of the box, cyber secure comes out of the box, AI and ML comes out of the box, first principles come out of the box, we're now moving towards autonomous and sustainability.
I just love listening to your vision of where this product is going, and it's so fascinating to me. How do you motivate your team? How do you motivate your customers to also remain energized and keep up with this unbelievable pace and transformation?
I am fortunate. I'm fortunate because not only do I have an energizing mission, I also have a fantastic team and a great set of customers. Frankly, the question more is, how do I channel their passion and their energy in the right manner to make structured progress? Because the problem is real. It is staring in our faces. So I don't get into that many questions of should we do it. The question I get is what should we do first, right? Because there is a lot of opportunity, there's a lot to be done. So my job is to be the cheerleader, is to say, let's find a path. Let's find a path which our customers want. Let's find a path which resonates with the values of Honeywell, and let's go for it. And things like motivation, things like speed, things like transformation, which requires you to give up a lot of legacy thinking, have not been an issue for Honeywell Connected Industrials.
You are listening to Industrial Bytes, a collection of bite-sized conversations from the industry world. Honeywell Forge is an enterprise performance management for operation technology that will improve the way a variety of companies collect, analyze, and act on data from their operations. The software solution leverages Honeywell's more than 100 years of experience in asset and process control technology and will transform the way work gets done by owners and operators of buildings, airlines, industrial facilities, and other critical assets and infrastructure. We welcome your thoughts, opinions, and feedback. Leave us a comment and we will be sure to respond. To learn more, go to honeywell.com. Thank you for tuning in.